The single most euphoric moment in a human life is not found in the roar of a stadium when a goal is scored. It is not found in the clinking of champagne glasses at a crowded, expensive party. True happiness, for people like us, is found in a microscopic, almost imperceptible sound. It is the dry, metallic click of the deadbolt sliding into place when you lock your front door. That sound is a religious experience. The moment that piece of metal slides into its slot, it severs the connection with the chaotic, screaming world outside. It is physical. Your shoulders, which have been pulled up toward your ears for 10 hours, finally drop. Your lungs, which have been taking shallow, anxious sips of air, finally dare to expand fully. To the outside observer, you have simply returned from work. But to you, standing there in the hallway, leaning your forehead against the cool wood of the door, the truth is much more profound. You haven't just come home. You have survived a war. This society was designed by extroverts, and it is run exclusively for extroverts. And they have a very bad habit of diagnosing our need for solitude as a sickness. They throw damaging words at our feet, like lazy, aloof, weird, or antisocial. They tell us to put ourselves out there, to join in, as if our inner world is a defect that needs to be repaired. They look at a quiet person and see a broken machine. But let's sweep those prejudices off the table. If we look deeply at how the brain actually feels, the difference between us and them isn't a flaw. It is simply a difference in operating systems. Think of it this way. Extroverts are like human solar panels. They need the scorching sun of the crowd to function. They need the thumping bass of the music, the shouting, the constant friction of small talk to charge their batteries. The more chaotic the environment, the more alive they feel. Silence to them is draining, but us, the people who love to stay home, we are not solar panels. We are high-precision machines with incredibly sensitive sensors. A room full of people isn't fun for us. It is a sensory assault. The overlapping conversations, the smell of someone's strong perfume, the flickering fluorescent lights, the judgment in a stranger's eyes. It all floods into our systems simultaneously. It feels like you have opened 300 tabs on your web browser all at once, and the cooling fan inside your head is screaming at maximum capacity, struggling to keep the system from melting down. When we retreat into our rooms, we are not running away. We are not hiding. We are performing emergency maintenance. We are preventing a total system crash. We need to cool down the engine after spending all day revving it in a world that is simply too loud, too bright, and too fast. Because the truth is, the world outside is an ocean of variables you cannot control. You cannot control the traffic jam that steals an hour of your life. You cannot control the construction noise that drills into your skull. And you certainly cannot control the unpredictable mood swings of your boss. This constant unpredictability forces your brain to remain in a state of high alert, like a soldier patrolling enemy territory, scanning the bushes for threats. It drains every ounce of your energy reserve. But the second you close that door, you become the king of your own kingdom. You are the god of your own universe. Inside these walls, you control the lighting. Soft, warm, dark. You control the soundscape. Maybe it's jazz, maybe it's rain sounds, maybe it's glorious, heavy silence. You control the temperature. But most importantly, you hold the ultimate power. You control the interaction. Out there beyond the door, we are all conscripted actors in a long, exhausting play called society. We are forced to wear the mask. We have to feign interest in boring stories about someone's weekend. We have to smile when we want to scream. We have to nod politely to prove we are team players. Wearing that heavy porcelain mask for 10 hours a day is a form of psychological torture. It leaves friction burns on the soul. The sanctity of the home lies in one simple fact. It is the only place on earth where you are allowed to take the mask off. It is the only place where you are allowed to be ugly. You can be silent, you can be messy, you can wear the same sweatpants for 3 days. You can lie on the floor and stare at the ceiling, being utterly useless, without feeling the burn of a single judgmental eye. It is the absolute freedom of not having to be a perfect human. However, there is a shadow creeping across the floorboards that we need to talk about. A darker truth is infiltrating this sanctuary, one that few dare to admit. The line between staying home to heal and staying home out of fear is beginning to blur. As the world becomes harsher, more competitive and more demanding, with work emails pinging at midnight and bad news flooding our screens 24/7, our homes are mutating. They are transforming from charging stations into wartime bunkers. The motivation is shifting. We are no longer staying in because we love the peace. We are staying in because we are terrified of the war outside. Technology has become the great enabler of this retreat. The delivery apps on your phone are not just selling convenience. They are selling avoidance. You can work, you can eat, you can shop for clothes, you can even date, all without ever having to breathe the same air as another human being. You can live an entire life without ever hearing a physical voice that isn't coming through a speaker. Slowly, quietly, your brain starts to learn a dangerous lesson. It begins to code the outside world as the enemy and the inside world as the only safety. The comfort zone shrinks. It gets smaller and smaller day by day until your entire world is the size of your bedroom. The thought of stepping out to buy milk starts to make your heart race. The sound of the doorbell becomes a threat. This psychological shift isn't just happening to you. It is a silent pandemic sweeping across the globe. But in the West, staying home might still be seen as a lifestyle choice, or cocooning. When we look across the ocean to East Asia, the story becomes much more tragic. We are standing at the threshold of a brutal reality. In cultures where the pressure to succeed is crushing, where academic perfection is mandatory, and where the shame of failure is heavier than a mountain, the bedroom door has become a border. In the neon-lit megacities of Tokyo, Seoul, and Shanghai, millions of young people are turning the key in the lock. They are not locking the door to get a good night's sleep before work tomorrow. They are locking the door to hand in their resignation from society. They are engaging in a total, absolute withdrawal. The bolt clicks shut, and for many of them, that door may never open again. When the deadbolt clicks in London or New York, it usually signals the rest at the end of a long day. But when that same sound echoes in a cramped apartment in Tokyo or a shabby rental in Seoul, it carries a much more permanent, terrifying weight. It isn't the end of a work shift. It is the termination of a life outside. Let's dive deep into the heart of East Asia, where social anxiety has metastasized into a malignant tumor. In Japan, silence blankets millions of rooms. Picture a young man, 25 years old, once the hope of his entire lineage. But then one day, he failed a university entrance exam, or perhaps he was mocked by a colleague. In a land where honor outweighs life itself, failure isn't just a mistake, it is an indelible stain that cannot be washed away. So, he retreated. He locked his bedroom door. And 10 years have passed since that day. He is now 35. He survives on trays of food. His aging parents leave outside his door 3 times a day. They sneak in to collect his trash while he sleeps. He exists as a ghost, haunting his own family. That door isn't locked because he loves the room. It is locked because the shame of stepping outside is too heavy to bear. The room was once a protective cocoon. Now, it has become a tomb, burying his youth alive. In China, the story doesn't begin with shame. It begins with absolute exhaustion. For decades, the youth were forced to run, study 16 hours a day, work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. They sprinted madly on the hamster wheel of prestige, until one day, they looked up and realized a horrifying truth. The wheel is spinning faster than ever, but the prize has vanished. So they did the unthinkable. They stopped. They lay down. This is the lying flat movement. They refuse to marry, refuse to have children, refuse to sell their lives to capitalism. Some go even further, embracing the philosophy of let it rot. Their mindset is simple. If the house is burning, I'm not running for water. I'm going to sit here, watch it burn, and go to sleep. Staying home for them is a silent protest. They are telling society, I will no longer be fuel for your machine. Finally, we arrive in South Korea, where social pressure is as sharp as a razor blade. Here, thousands of young people are choosing to live in matchboxes just big enough to lie down in. They cut all ties. They eat rice balls alone in convenience stores. They watch live streams of strangers eating just to feel less lonely. Why choose this life? Because the price of fitting in is too expensive. To have friends, to date, you need designer clothes. You need plastic surgery. You need an impressive job title. Maintaining that social performance bankrupts the soul. They build walls around themselves, not because they hate people, but because they no longer have the emotional capital to pay the entrance fee to this society. These extreme stories are a warning to us. The home is a shelter, but do not let it become your entire world. The power of introverts like us is the ability to build an entire universe inside our heads. We find joy in stillness. That is a superpower. But remember this closely. A ship is very safe when anchored in the harbor, but ships are not built to stay there forever. The goal of locking your door is not to hide forever. It is to create a safe space where you can heal your wounds, so that when you are ready, you have the strength to open that door and face the chaos out there. So go ahead, love your room. Cherish that peaceful click of the deadbolt. Breathe deep. Heal. But please, make sure that lock can always be opened from the inside. And every once in a while, just every once in a while, summon the courage to turn it. Push the door open and remind the world that you still exist.